We started out in May of 14 with, I think, a figure of $140 million. We decreased that quite a bit. So as we've made our way one-third of our way through the fiscal year, your projection and the finance director's projection on anticipated deficit.
So, unlike most years, this is driven by expenditures, not revenues. Generally, we're coming to you saying, property tax, well, in good times, property tax better, sales tax better, that's driving the deficit down. In bad times, it's the opposite, right? This is driven primarily by expenditures, and the expenditures, as we talked about yesterday, it's really, the $80 million, $50 million of that is around the police officer pension, where they're now projecting that we won't go under 80% funded, so we won't owe them $50 million in 16 and 15 and 17. So really, that projection is out of the controller's hands, it's out of mine, it's done by an independent board. I'm relying on them, and given the fact that they changed their actuarial methodology, I have no reason to believe that projection isn't good. But like I said, it's a different situation we find ourselves in, having that big a swing caused by expenditures and not by revenue.
So, assuming we don't have that, give me the number.
$63 million, 62.777 is $63 million yesterday.
Controller.
I don't have reason to quarrel with that number.
Gotcha.
Now, but let me tell you one thing, and it's interesting that you bring this up, that Mr. Dow and I actually do talk about things, and sometimes we talk about things anecdotally. When you look at what's going on in the region, all of the buildings, of course, with the West Texas Intermediate at $62, a little over $62 a day, I think all of us are kind of a little concerned about that. As a person who drives a Suburban, I'm loving it. But down the road, we're a little concerned about that, because that may have some trickle-down effect that we've got to kind of start thinking about it. At least we have the discussion going now, what that means later.
Right. So, but just understand that we did start at 140 million, and today we're at 63. So a lot prettier picture than we anticipated when we had this discussion in May.
I just want y'all to know, Ebony asked the question and y'all answered. I asked the same question. Maybe I just wasn't as articulate as my colleague here, but that's the point I was trying to get across. The number is 63 million, and Ron, Controller Green, you're saying that you're in line with that number.
Because what I base mine on is your projection when you put it together. So I don't have any room. I don't have any issue with it at this point.
Okay, so when we make decisions in Councilmember Costello's committee, we're facing that number, the 63 million. That's what we're making decisions based on, right?
But what I will caution you on is that it could go higher or it could go lower. So don't fixate on just that 63 million.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, both of you guys.
Councilor Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Controller Green, Director Dow. Thank you for your presentation. The report that we have just received, it deals with the fiscal status of the city. Mayor, this deals with not just general fund. Am I correct to say this is enterprise fund as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me move forward with a line of inquiry. On November the 13th, during the core services or workshops, Director Diaz of the airport operations indicated that the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, had done an audit of the airport 4 years ago, and the city was in the process of responding to that audit. And Director Diaz indicated in an email subsequent to that he had responded to a portion of the audit as recently as over a year ago. He was waiting for the FAA to get back. I and other council members requested a copy of that audit on November the 13th, and we're still waiting today. Now, to Director Diaz's credit, he has offered to come by my office and talk to me about the audit. And my position is, wait a minute, if the FAA audited the Houston Airports system 4 years ago and this council didn't know about the audit, we haven't seen the audit, and you have received it as a department director, and you have responded to the audit on behalf of the city of Houston, and we are city officials and we don't know what the audit was, much less what type of response you submitted on our behalf, something's wrong. It questions transparency, it questions our executive sessions, it questions access to data. It questions whether we have, on today's agenda, we have 4 items today which deals with the airport, and some of those are big dollar items. In addition to that, we have on the agenda today our legislative principles, whether we're going to advance those forward, and one of those deals with the airport. How are we as a council supposed to move forward approving expenditures with the airport when we don't know what the agency that regulates and oversees what we do at the airport, what it has said about our operations at the airport? It may be all nice and good, but I suspect that they did it 4 years ago and you're still wrangling from an administrative standpoint and won't give it to council members. Something's not right. And I don't buy this stuff about draft, because if you have responded to it on behalf of the city, and we're city officials, not very much draft about that. So my question is, first, Controller Green, as the controller for the city of Houston, have you seen this audit? And my second question is to Director Dow. Have you seen the audit, and what are the financial, fiscal implications, if any, as it relates to the financial status of the city of Houston? Because we should look at not just general fund dollars. And to my folk in the media over there, help me access this audit if you would. I'm trying to go through other sources as well to access it from the FAA, because I think it's absolutely unconscionable, Mr. Feldman, that the city has an audit on the airport. It has been responded to. It has been responded to.
Councilmember.
I'm not yielding yet.